The midday sun hovered over the coastal town of Gradage, turning its streets into a maze of sharp shadows and burning light. Seagulls cried overhead, cars hummed in the distance, and life went on, unaware that, in a forgotten service alley behind an old bakery, a scene was unfolding that would change everything the town thought it knew. Elias Rowan, a respected philanthropist whose name was printed on hospitals, schools, and charity walls, stepped out of his silver SUV after returning from an international conference. He expected to be greeted by calm routines, warm conversations, and the steady presence of the woman who had always grounded him. But fate had other plans. There, slumped against the cracked brick wall, was his wife, Liana. Her blouse was torn, her knees scraped, her face pale and streaked with dust. A thin line of dried blood traced her cheek, and she clutched a worn canvas tote as if it contained the last safe piece of her soul. When her eyes lifted toward him, they weren't the bright, joyful eyes he knew. They were wide, empty, and frightened. Something inside Elias collapsed. Before his mind could form a single thought, his heart had already shattered. He ran to her, calling her name, gathering her in his arms. Her body trembled, her voice was gone. And in that moment, the man the city had always praised for his calm power, made a silent promise, one that would shake his entire world. If you believe in empathy, courage, and human transformation, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner right now. Your support helps us reach more hearts every day. Elias helped Liana into the car and sped home, ignoring the startled looks from neighbors and staff. Every phone call, every meeting request, every obligation faded into insignificance. All that mattered was her shallow breathing and the numb, distant stare she couldn't escape. A private doctor arrived quickly and confirmed what Elias feared. Liana had been attacked. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was targeted. The weight of those words hit Elias like a blow to the chest. As the doctor tended to Liana, Elias stepped into the hallway and leaned against the wall. His home, usually tidy, elegant, and calm, suddenly felt too large, too cold, too useless. It was a palace that had failed to protect the very person it was built for. Days passed. Liana healed slowly, her voice quiet, her eyes haunted. She didn't speak of what happened, not at first. But her silence was louder than any scream. Then, one soft morning, while sunlight filtered gently across her blankets, she began to talk. A neighbor, a young mother forced out of her apartment, had needed help. Liana, always compassionate, always willing to give, had gone to bring her food. But before she could reach the woman, a group of men cornered her, stole her things, hurt her, and left her behind the bakery to disappear into silence. Elias didn't blink, didn't flinch, didn't interrupt. His expression held heartbreak, and something fierce. Not vengeance, determination. Instead of hiding what happened, instead of protecting his carefully built image, Elias shocked Garage. He went public. He stood beside Liana on the steps of the town hall, looked into the cameras, and spoke plainly. No polished speeches, no public relations script, only truth. He admitted his failures, his distance, his blindness to the suffering right outside his gates. He demanded accountability. He demanded change, and he asked the community to stand with him in rebuilding safety, empathy, and protection for those who lived unheard. His words struck the town like thunder. Shelters received more volunteers in a week than in the past year. Patrol groups formed, local officials committed new resources, and every step of that transformation was dedicated to Liana, the woman whose courage had sparked a small revolution. As weeks passed, her smile returned, fragile at first, then warm, then real. She and Elias spent their days visiting shelters, comforting families, and supporting survivors. Their evenings were quieter than before, filled with closeness and gratitude. The pain hadn't vanished, but it had become something powerful, a mission, a purpose, a movement. Months later, at a seaside fundraising event for victims of violence, Elias looked at the crowd, hundreds of people united, and felt something he had never felt. Not in all his years of success. True purpose. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your engagement helps us continue bringing emotional, inspiring, and life-changing stories to more people. Before you go, tell us in the comments, which part of this story moved you the most?